Hello everyone, welcome back to Everything Swift. Today we'll be tackling Leetcode question 271 titled Encode and Decode Strings. So first of all, as you can see, the compiler right here, I changed the theme to this dark mode theme because there was a comment from I think James Allen that pointed out that he prefers my older videos where I was using a black theme. So I'm just trying to test this out, and if you guys like it, please feel free to leave some comments below, or if you prefer the previous light theme, I'm just gonna keep playing around. I have no preference for either one, so both is cool, but it's important for you guys, so I'll just do my best. And the reason why I'm not using the Xcode on my previous old like how I did in my old videos is because over here I can just run all the test cases that's already inbuilt in Leetcode, and I can just ensure that the answer is correct on the spot. So that's the reason why I wanted to do on this platform rather than having my answers in the Xcode playground format. So just let me know if this thing is okay, or it's because like light and dark doesn't really look too good. Yeah. So anyway, just leave a comment and then I can just switch back if this is not cool. Right. So enough talk. Let's see what we have to do today. Basically, we are given two functions here in this class codec, and basically our assignment for today is given this string here, which is an array of type string. We're supposed to return a string, but it is an encoded version of the string. And when we call the decode function, we are supposed to return back the original strings that is given to us in this input of the encode, right? So for example, in the encode function, we are given hello world, I guess the most typical one. Basically, let's say if we encode the string in this function, we return like hello world. For example, when we call the decode function, if we pass in the parameter of hello world, this function here with this input is supposed to return us the original input array, which is this one, hello world, right? So that's the task for today. And we're supposed to figure out how we're going to do this. And I would say that the thought process or the strategy on how to tackle this is essentially uh, like let's take a step back and try to figure out like how we should think about this, right? So in each string, we will need to figure out like when is the starting character and when is the ending character, right? Because if you can see, the encoding function is not too difficult, right? We can basically just encode it anyway. But the tricky part is when we are doing the decoding, right? How do we get back to the original state, right? Because we're supposed to return the original input array, and obviously we can't just hold a reference to the original input array. I guess that would be cheating or not really a decoding function. So essentially we have to figure out like when does the for example like hello, right? Like how do we know H is the starting and the ending is an O, and then when we hit W, basically we know it's the second word, right? So how do we know that? And that's the crucial thing I would say to identify or solving this question for the decode part of things, right? So there are two things that we have to do here. One, obviously, we need a way to know the length of the characters, right? Knowing the length of the characters, we will be able to know when we need to stop or break to signify that that is the result string, right? And we can append it to an array, for example. But that is not enough because like we need a way to also signify that we are breaking out, right? So we need some form of symbol here to note that we can safely break, and then after this point we can be sure that is the word that we wanted. So there's two things that we need to achieve here, right? So I'm just going to put this down here. There's two things that we need to achieve here. Two things, right? Length of word, we somehow need to figure out like how do we get the length of word inside the encode string, and we're supposed to have like a way or like a kind of like a symbol to signify that that is the ending or the beginning of the character, right? The beginning of the word that we want to start extracting from, right? So the uh, beginning portion of the word, right? So these are the two things that will help us solve encode and decode, right? So because we're going to use some form of symbol, or at least that's how I'm going to attempt to solve this question, we're going to reuse it in both the encode and decode. So I'm just going to create a private constant here and call it symbol because we're going to reuse it. And I'm just putting in any character. I think any character is fine. I'm just going with a question mark here. So let's start with the encode function. STRS. As always, I'm just checking for performance reason. If it's empty, then basically there's nothing to encode, so just return an empty string. And because we're going to return a string, I'm just going to create a result string here and go ahead and return it first. So how do we want to do the encoding, right? So we're given an array of strings. We're supposed to encode it and return an encoded string, which is type string. So let's go ahead and look through it, right? Just a simple for loop, looking through the inputs of this array string. So as we can see that we have two things that we want to solve, right? We need to know the length of the word and we need to know the beginning portion of the word, right? Like a kind of like a symbol. That's where the symbol comes in. So length of the word, how do we get the count of the word? So str.count, right? Simple as that. And because we're gonna return an encoded string, so we can go ahead and return results plus equals not equals because we don't want to reassign it, so we're just appending it as a string. And then we're gonna put a count here, which is the length of the word, and then we put a symbol here, and then we put the actual word. So this combination of count and symbol will help us signify like when we get count, we know the length of the word, and the symbol is just to signify that hey, after this point, we are sure that the next character onwards with the combination of this amount of count is the exact word we are looking for. So that's why I was having the count and also the symbol. That will help us in the decoding function here, right? So I think that's it for the encode. We can get started with the decode here. If s is empty, then we'll just return string array. Just a simple optimization here. If there's no input, basically just an empty array, right? No decoding required. So here we're going to do a while loop here and sort of like go through this string character here, string type, sorry, and kind of like build back the original input array, right? So I equals 0, j equals 0. And because this is string, I'm just going to convert it into an array of characters. So word array string is the characters in the string. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because in Swift, if we want to access the string by index, it's quite difficult. We have to use like string index. If not mistaken, that's the syntax, so that's a bit troublesome. So I'm just doing a character array. And obviously the result is definitely required here. Okay, just return results here. So here we will have to look through the string, right? So let's look through our character array, count. And j will be basically reassigned every time we break out from the next loop inside here, right? So while j is less than, oh sorry, if word of array j essentially is not equals to symbol, right? It's not equals to symbol. So that way, and we have to cast this as a string because symbol is a string type and accessing the index of this word array is basically a character, so we have to cast it back. Essentially, if we haven't made a symbol yet, basically we're still in the count phase. We're still in the number phase here. And this count is basically to tell us the length of the word character. So essentially, if we haven't meet the symbol yet, so we just go ahead and increment j, right? That will basically tell us the length of the word that we are going to extract from, right? So once j meets the symbol, once we hit this symbol here, we know that the next subsequent character in the string is the actual word, right? So let's go and figure out like the length of word here is basically int string of word array I less than j, right? So basically this is just to get the length of the word. We're getting this portion here, this count here. And now we're supposed to extract the word here and basically append it into this result. So let's go and get the actual word. So here we'll get word array of j plus 1, right? All the way to j plus 1 plus the length of the word here, length of word, right? This way we will get the actual word here, this word that we're supposed to extract from, and basically we'll append this to the array because that's the output that we want. We're trying to build back the original input array that we have here, right? In the encode function, we're supposed to, when we decode, we're supposed to get back the same input as the encode parameter. So we add this here, and because this is a while loop, we can't forget to update our I, or else we'll be stuck in this we'll be stuck in this infinite loop. So basically because j plus 1 of the length of word is basically the end of the first portion of the word. If there is two words, basically we just need to update our I to that particular index so that the subsequent iteration will start from that point onwards. So think that is about it. This is the encode function. We basically have the length of word and the beginning portion of word that is solved by the symbol, and then we are basically having this format of count, symbol, and string. And then the decode is basically, like I explained, basically we look through to get the actual count of the word, and then we extract, based on that we are confident to extract the actual word itself. And that should be it. Let me just go ahead and run this video here. Okay. Result. Oh, because it's result, not result. Sorry, typo. Oh my god. What's going on here? Length of word. Length of word. Length of word. Oops. Length of word. Oh, sorry guys. Lots of typo today. We'll get this right. And there we have it. 2 of the test cases is passed. Let's try and submit this. There we have it. It succeeded. So yeah, that's how we solve this problem. Basically, just to recap, there are 2 things that we have to solve, which is to kind of figure out the length of the word within this input array, and then once we figure out the actual amount, we basically add sort of like a cutoff point to inform us that is useful in the decode function, that after this symbol, everything else is the actual word of the length that we figure out here, right? So one question I think I can think of is when I was doing this is what happens if there is a character of question mark inside this string here as well, right? So that wouldn't be an issue because the symbol that we add in here will be the first one. It will happen first before we meet the second question mark symbol in the string. So in this while loop here, we will already meet the first question mark symbol, and we will have already broken out from this while loop. So even if the string contains the same character as our symbol, it will not be an issue with this formula here. So that's good to go, but I just wanted to call it out because I was thinking about it when I was using this format to solve the problem. But anyway, thank you very much for your time. I hope you guys like this, and of course, Please remember to leave some feedback about this format, this dark theme here. If there's nothing else, thank you for your time. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. It helps me grow the channel. Thank you, and bye bye.